Through books, I've been mentored by billionaires, I've been mentored by millionaires. Every time I read a book, I feel like, okay, the author of that book is sitting across of me and they are giving me advice on how to live my life, on how to take advantage of my finances, or anything that I'm reading about. I personally grew up in Cameroon, and when I grew up, all I heard was, if you want to hide something from a Cameroonian, write it in a book. And that was when I told myself that no, nobody will ever hide anything from me. I developed an interest in reading from that early age. And I have personally written books, and I'm currently working on a financial book that will be out soon, so watch out for that book. So overcomers, you guys have been asking me to talk about the books that have really impacted my life, and I'm going to be sharing 17 of the books. I'm a little bit under the weather, but that is not anything. So for those who have been following this channel, you know that I have a degree in finance. I also did chartered accountancy. I have a PhD, and I've had experience working in reputable companies. As somebody who has a degree in finance, I've read so many books, and in 2018 I decided to really start my passive income financial freedom journey. And from that time, I've read so many different books. So the books I'm going to be sharing with you in this video are the books that have transformed my financial life, books that have helped my psychology when it comes to money, books that have helped me when it comes to money management, side hustles, and books that have helped me when it comes to investment. One of the books that have been a game changer for me when it comes to my finances is the Bible and the book The Richest Man in Babylon. But I'm not going to talk about those ones in this video because I'll make separate videos for those books. So the books I'm going to be sharing with you in this video, some of them I listen to them on Audible, and every time when I listen to a book that impacts my life so much, then I will decide to buy the hard copy like this one, Atomic Habits, and I buy some of the soft copies and I read them in my Kindle. One day in one of my busy days running up and down, I was reflecting on my life and I asked myself, if I had 3 months to live, if the doctor had told me that I have just 3 months to live, what are some of the changes that I'm going to make in my life as a whole, and some of the changes that I'm going to make in my finances? And when I was thinking about that, that is when I fell on the book, Your Money, Your Life. When I read that book, I began to reevaluate my life and I began to ask myself, the things I currently do, what if I was supposed to do them without earning any money from that thing? Will I still do it? Is that something I'll still do with joy? What will be the fulfillment I will get from doing that thing if I was not being paid? So I encourage you to pick this book and read if those are some of the questions that you are asking yourself. So after I read that book, even though I had all those questions in my mind, I began to tell myself, no, there is nothing else I can do apart from what I was already doing. But you know what? As God will have his way, I laid my hands on the book, The Slight Edge. And when I read the book, The Slight Edge, it completely changed my understanding of how I was looking at things. You know, in this book, one of the things that the author talks about, the slight edge just means the smallest advantage. What is the smallest advantage that you have over somebody that you can take advantage of? You know, sometimes we can look at our lives and we think, no, we don't have any advantage. But I came to realize that if, for example, you are born in a poor family, you have an advantage over other people who were born from rich families because they have not experienced the life you have experienced. If you did not go to school, then you have an advantage over people who went to school. If you have a PhD like me, then you have a slight edge over people who did not go to school. And if you grew up walking bare feet because you do not have money to buy shoes like me, then you also have an advantage over people who had shoes. So when I read this book, I sat down and I jotted everything that I felt like, okay, I have a slight edge over others in this area, and it helped me to be able to make the decisions that I was making in my life at that time. If that's something you are struggling with, I will encourage you to pick this book and read. Before we continue, I want you to know that you can use my Audible link down below and you'll have 2 free books that you can listen to. Even though I had jotted down all these things and in my mind I know, okay, I'm ready to change my life, but I didn't know where to start. You know, then after I read the book Atomic Habits, and in this book the author is encouraging readers not to worry about those big changes. Think about the small daily steps, the small things that you do daily. So long as you are making a 1% positive change daily, it's going to impact your life. Think about somebody who start going to the gym. If you go to the gym and come back, you'll be like, wow, you'll be so tired, you'll be so broken. You look at yourself physically, it's like nothing is changing. But if you keep doing those tiny things every day, guess what? At the end of 3 months, when you climb on the scale, it will be completely different. Or if you look at yourself, you'll be completely different because you are making tiny changes changes every day. If there are some habits that you want to develop, if you want to change your life, you want to pick up some financial habits and you don't know how to go about it, you want to start a business and it's like you are too busy, start making small changes every day toward that thing that you want to achieve, and those little habits are going to compound and you will see the big result. So the next book I want to talk about is the book The Power of Habit. This book just came to like really add and support the fact that the way our brains are wired, if you develop habits, those habits are going to help you to be able to achieve your dreams. Then I read the book Think and Grow Rich. And in this book, it's like, okay, you can't be thinking that you are so poor. You can't be thinking that you are not able to change your financial life and you are expecting to see positive changes. Because when you start thinking that, oh, okay, I'm going to be a millionaire one day, then the actions, the steps you take will actually help you to become that millionaire one day. But if you keep feeling that, oh, I'm from a poor background, nobody in my family has ever become a millionaire, nobody in my family has gone to school, guess what? Your actions, the things you do every day will lead you on that path. But immediately you start thinking and you start feeling like, oh, okay, I deserve this, I am able to achieve this thing. Guess what? You are going to take action to be able to achieve those big dreams. Then I read the book The Psychology of Money, and in this book he uses real life examples discussing our behavior toward money, how our psychology helps us to be able to make choices that are related to finance. And in this book he gives valuable insight on how we can build positive mindsets regarding our finances. So one of the things that really impacted me from that book is the fact that time is a tool for wealth creation. So if you talk about investment, for example, people who start investing early, they might put in a smaller amount of money, but because they started investing early, their wealth is going to compound compared to somebody who start investing late in life. Even if they are putting exactly the same amount of money, but because of the fact that they started late, they will have a smaller amount of money compared to the person who started investing early on in life, because their money is going to compound. So the 6 books I've just talked about, I've classified them under like the psychology of money. So if you've not liked this video, I want to encourage you to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and become a part of the family. So now I'm going to dive into some of the books that taught me, or books that are teaching me, money management. The first book I want to talk about is Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's a book that is very common, and it's not common for nothing. I did finance, I did accountancy, and I studied a lot about liability and asset, but the way Rich Dad Poor Dad explains it, it blows my mind. The simple thing that I can tell you is that when you think about asset and liability, asset is anything that is bringing money into your pocket, and a liability is anything that is taking money out of your pocket. For example, this YouTube video I'm creating now is an asset to me, because when YouTube keep putting ads on this video, then I'm going to have a commission from this video, so it's able to put money in my pocket. But when you think of a liability, for example, if I have to go and take a loan and buy a car that I'm not able to pay, every month I'm removing money from my pocket and paying for that car, then it's a liability. One thing that you have to understand is that it's not all loans that are liability. Some loans can be assets. For example, somebody who is in medical school, they can take a certain amount of money for loan and they pay for their fees, but when they graduate, they'll be able to make more money to be able to pay for that loan that they took. That loan is an asset because it's going to bring money into their pocket. That's the book that anybody thinking about growing their finance should read. And just so you know, I have a link to all the books I'm going to be talking about down below. After learning from Robert Ozaki on liabilities and assets, now how do you actually manage this money? So in the book Get Good with Money, Tiffany is explaining the importance and how to be able to budget, how to be able to save your money, and how to be able to invest your money. In this book, you are being empowered how to take charge of your finances. So just so you know, I've been writing a finance book for almost 2 years now, and it's about time for me to release that book. So watch out for that book. So the next book that really impacted me is The Millionaire Next Door. Do you know that the people who are living around you, close to you, are maybe millionaires? And those people that you were born together with, people who took financial steps to change their life, maybe are millionaires, or they will be millionaires soon? And do you know that even you as an individual, so long as you take actionable steps, you can become a millionaire anytime soon? When I read this book, The Millionaire Next Door, it just impacted me in a way. I was like, wow. One of the things that I can really point out from this book is the importance of investment. How when you invest, it accumulates long-term wealth. How important it is for you to cultivate the mindset that you want to build wealth purposefully. And when you develop this habit, one of the books that I read is Financial Freedom. The way the world is, considering the fact that inflation keep growing, if we are depending on one source of income, we are not able to meet up with our needs. And so building side hustles is the way to go. So another book that I want to talk about is by Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Work Week. The first time I picked up this book, I was like, is this a clown or what? I'm like, how can you work for 4 hours a week? But after I read this book, I understood his logic. The main idea is like, you who have the knowledge, you who have the idea, you can outsource the task, and then maybe you are just there to manage. You can use about, let's say, 4 hours to manage the task and manage the people who are actually doing the work for you. And so you hire people to be able to do the work, and you are just like putting things together. When you follow his work and use his techniques, you'll get to that point in your life where, when you put systems in place, you will still be able to earn enough money and you'll be working very few hours. And then you get to that point where you can have time freedom. Then I read the book, The Millionaire Fast Lane. In that book, it just shows that there is a slow lane and there is a fast lane. Yes, people can follow the slow lane, which is like the 9 to 5, and still be able to build some wealth, but it's going to take time. But when you come to the fast lane, it's like you're putting all these businesses together and you work hard, and then you'll be able to make that money faster than somebody who is just depending on one source of income. You can focus on financial velocity so you can grow that money faster when you have different business venture. So now the next set of books I'll be talking about is the category of investment. The next book I want to talk about is I Will Teach You How to Be Rich. In this book, the book teaches systems that you can make informed financial investment decisions. The book covers topics like budgeting up to investment. If you want to learn about budgeting and investment, this is one book that I would encourage you to pick. Another book that have impacted me so much is the Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Ozaki. He's the same person who wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. In this book, he's talking about the main 4 quadrants of cash flow. He categorized individuals based on their approach of earning money. It could be employee, somebody who is having an individual business, somebody who is having a business with employees. And the whole goal of this book is to guide individuals toward financial independence. So another book that I've read is The Intelligent Investor. It really breaks down timelines. If you are an intelligent investor, when are you supposed to invest? What are the things that you are supposed to do? What are the steps that you are supposed to take? When you read this book, is going to teach you how to analyze the investment thoroughly. It's going to teach you about risk management and how to be able to build a rich financial portfolio. The next book I want to talk about is Common Sense Investment. The book focusing on you not bearing so much risk when it comes to investment. Focuses on like investing mostly in like indexes. For example, the S&P 500. If you invest, for example, in individual stocks, let's say you invest in Apple, anything can happen. If you invest in Facebook, Meta, anything can happen. Amazon, anything can happen. If you invest in the S&P 500, for example, you realize that even if one individual stock is crashing, no, the S&P 500 is still going to be there. Anything that comes to indexes, to him, is common sense for you to understand that no, even though it's not giving you much money, but it's common sense that you are not going to lose your investment. Rather, you will always make money. So overcomers, these are some of the books that have really impacted my financial journey, and I've shared them with you today. I will encourage you, if you don't like reading, you can listen to the audible copies of the book, and I'm going to put all the links of the books down below. And if you use my Audible link, you are going to have 2 free books that you can listen to. Let me know which of the books that you are going to be reading first in the comment section down below. If you've not yet liked this video, I want to encourage you to give it a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm so that you'll be able to share this valuable content to other people. And if you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe and become a part of the family. family. So I encourage you to click on the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. Thank you so much for taking the time to change your financial life, overcomers. I just want to really appreciate you for every step that you are taking to be able to change your life. I want you to know that your future self is going to thank you. Love you all so much. Bye bye.
It's been a while since we laid down.